Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. This next one comes from Jan-Peter Niemann. And it's in response to what the hell is Zen-Core, and a rant I did in October 2019. And Jan writes, or Jon probably actually, Jan-Peter Niemann is probably his correct pronunciation. Now I can pronounce that name. What makes Zen-Core favourable to the Integra and FA technology? I have to decide if I'm going to buy a Jupiter X or an FA07. Now, what I will say, I have a Jupiter X and it is a superb machine, but it is not a workstation. So if you want a workstation, it's the Phantom. If you want a synthesizer, it's the Jupiter. But it's a great question. I'm sure many other tubers out there are asking exactly the same question. Why should I buy into Zen-Core? I kind of thought about this answer, and then I went back and said the advantage of Zen-Core, it's designed to be modular. You can buy and add new engines to Zen-Core within the Zen-Core ecosphere that Roland have created. The heart of Zen-Core is simple. It's a simple synth. It really is. It's a simple synth at the heart of it. But you can then add additional engines to the platform to expand the sound. Second advantage I thought about was the key engines currently use a PCMA/LA synthesis mechanism to develop and deliver the tone. By the way I said key, as you can also build the tones up from scratch using the synth module. Okay, so very similar to the synth model concept is probably something that's developed out of the kind of the System 8 type stuff, where you had a System 8 which was a synth, and then you could put other synth engines onto it. So Zen-Core really is just moving that whole concept forward, and you can load additional engines. And again, that's kind of pinching the idea of the synth engines from, I suppose, Kronos. If I look at it, I can't comment on montage because I don't have a montage and I don't have the deep technical knowledge of the montage to allow me to comment on that. But definitely, the whole concept of the Kronos was these synth engines, and Roland's really sort of picked up on that with the Phantom. The engines are interchangeable with the Roland SoundCloud, so you can work on a VST and you can work on the hardware. Now, I would always say work on the hardware because I love using the hardware. To me, it's the better medium. But lots of you out there are using the VST functionality and just doing everything in Ableton or Pro Tools or Logic or whatever it happens to be, Reaper. The other thing is it's currently supported and marketed by Roland. The current Phantom uses the same technology base. You can exchange patches, and it's become even more relevant now. They've published the baby Phantom, the Phantom O, and I say baby Phantom, actually, it's still a damn big keyboard, but in terms of they've stripped a lot of functionality and the way the build quality is lower to make it a lower price point. So it becomes more of a proposition now that you've now got the Jupiter engine, the Jupiter platform, the Groove platform, the Phantom platform, the Phantom O platform, all using this sort of same core technology with interchangeable engines, if you like. Now, some disadvantages I thought about. It's expensive. Each engine costs you about $100. Now, some people might say that's not expensive, but for your semi-pro musician, $100 is $100, and it's at the end of the day, it's all money out the door. You can take a subscription at $150 per annum, and I probably would say that's your better route, rather than just buying the plugins to have a subscription. But again, you're then tied into paying that. But on Perpetuum, yes, you do get a plug-in per year, I think it is, if I remember from my subscription, which reminds me I've got to select my plug-in for this year. But, you're into this perpetual paying, which is what they want. They want you on a subscription basis rather than a one-off basis. Let's hope they support it for longer because you are subscribing rather than purchasing. Yeah. The next one actually comes on to that last point I made, which is Roland have been very fickle on the longevity of the products. So they haven't actually had the products out for very long before all of a sudden superseding them. Now, if you look at Korg, we all know Korg Kronos has been in the market for 10 years before they effectively canned the platform. What I'd like to see is, will Roland support Zen-Core for 10 years? Is there a 10-year lifespan in here? If you're going to go and drop, even if you go for the baby Phantom, you're going to drop £2,000, £2,500, I think it is actually. Whereas, you might think about dropping less money on something else. Anyway, I'm not going to go on that. But that's kind of my real concern with Roland, is how fickle they are in product longevity. By the way, I have no axe to grind with Roland at all. I just think, as a company, they have lots of products, but they seem to move products very quickly, rather than letting the products bed into the artists in the market. Now, giving you my thoughts on Zen-Core, you need to work out whether the sound engines supplied by Zen-Core are what you need. Are you happy to work with soundscapes offered by the Integra and FA7? Now, you'll definitely pick those two boards up a damn sight cheaper than you will pick up a Zen-Core keyboard, given the fact that Zen-Core is tend to be new. But you're kind of in a I mean, I think the Integra is a really cracking platform, I have to be honest, and I've got a friend of mine who's got one, and he pretty much uses the Integra for everything he needs to, because it's kind of the culmination of so many synths that went before it, especially the JV1080, JV2080, JV50 XV, or is it XV5080, isn't it? All those patches are in there, as are a number of other synths that have gone before. So he gets a lot of bangs for his buck. That's his personal opinion on the Integra. Given that I do not know what type of music that you're making, this is kind of really sort of more generic rather than specific. As I said, the Integra is still being actively sold, or it was being actively sold at the time I wrote this response, which would have been in November 2021, and I'm currently filming this in April 2022. So, that actually has had a fairly decent production line, nearly as long as the Kronos at the point of writing, being launched in 2012. The Integra incorporates, as I say, most of the sound canvas, V drums, SRX cards, etc., etc. A lot of synth in a little box. It is fully functions as a workstation, half the price of a brand new Phantom, and it has a good grounding of 2,000 plus sounds. Some may cross the previous synths, but you're looking for the Supernatural engine, and then I think the Integra would be a better choice. If you're looking at keyboard workstation, the FA7 may be your better choice. If you want a modular synth engine approach, then maybe the new Jupiter. I mean, I've got the Jupiter. I love the Jupiter. I like the approach. I have several plugins that I've loaded onto the Jupiter since I bought it. So it's not an interesting. It's not not an interest. It's an interesting area, and it kind of comes down to what do you want to do with it. If you're looking for a synthesizer, the Jupiter might be a better bet. If you're looking for a workstation, the Phantom and the Integra will give you a lot of workstation features. If you're looking for the dog's doodahs, you wouldn't buy Kronos. You may struggle with Nautilus at the moment because a lot of people don't like the Nautilus concept, and therefore Phantom or Baby Phantom might be your better bet. Bye.